July has been staggered with some truly amazing reads. I have the last book of a fantasy trilogy that I am so desperate to finish. I also have a series that I previously gave the last book a 5-star, as well as The Wheel of Time, and finally, Brandon Sanderson is taking the reign. If this month doesn't deliver, I don't know what will. Hi guys, this is Dan. Huge welcome if you are new here. Welcome to another episode of 5-Star Quest, my ongoing hunt to find the next fantasy book that's gonna blow me away. This month's lineup could feel a bit legendary because we got some finale, high expectation, or a few chances for some unexpected favorites. Which fantasy book do you think I will guarantee to give a 5-star to? Leave your bet in the comment before I reveal the results. Alright, without further ado, let's dive into my July's reading and see which one lives up to the hype. So guys, I have just finished my very first book of July, and it is The Sorrow of the Sea by Stephen Ian. I started this book before my holiday back in June, and then I took it to France with me, read it a bit here and there, and finally finishing once I get home. So I am not as attentive as I wanted to be, so my review could get a bit here and there. If you haven't heard about this book before, it is actually the third book of the Nightingale and the Falcon series, and it is inspired by the Mongolian invasion to Persia during the 30th century. Throughout this series, we will follow the ambition of a Mongolian Khan called Hulaku, who want to expand the Mongolian territory towards Middle East, but at the same time, we will also follow characters from the Persian rebels to see how they resist this invasion. Also starting in the second book, we were introduced to a new group of characters. They are mysterious, secretive magic users called Kosen, and they can be further divided into two divisions, the chaos and the order, and they are opposing. What they are doing in this series is like secretly manipulating all the events towards their favor, and they try to win over each other basically. Finally, coming to the last installment, of course we're gonna see how this conflict between the Mongolian and the Persian gonna end, and at the same time to see how order and chaos gonna influence this series of events. In this book, of course, we're gonna follow the good old familiar characters. Let's say the Khan's son called Temujin, princess turned assassin Kokochin, and also a Persian rebel called Kaifon. And in terms of their individual plots, we can expect to see how Temujin gonna slowly realize his vision and how he can achieve it. Kokochin one is actually quite interesting because it is like a redemption story. Of course, as a rebel, we're gonna see how Kaifon and the rebel counteract the invasion from the Mongolians. So what do I love about this book? Firstly, it's the writing style. It is just so easy to follow. I guess this is what I love about Stephen Ian. His modern fantasy writing style with this sort of very upbeat pacing, it just feels like very straight to the point in a sense. There is no unnecessary details between the paragraphs, so you will feel the whole story more compact. And I also think all the characters got the depth and also their learning curve. Let's say how Temujin slowly realized the use of his power and making his own decision based on what he has gone through. Kokochin's redemption story arc based on the mistakes she had made, and of course Kaifon's effort to liberate Persia. I would say all these characters are quite vivid, but do they have that emotional depth that I really look for in character work? Sadly, no. I don't have the physical copy of this book yet, but based on my experience, all the books in this series are relatively shorter. They are no longer than 400 pages. Imagine you need to pack all these fantasy elements in a shorter series. It's not easy already. I just feel like throughout this series, we are jumping between these perspectives quite often. There are 4 perspectives to share in a book. The length of each arc is not actually that long. So in a way, it makes it harder to find a character that you really care about or to root for. I can't really find one here. But back to the positive, there are still plenty of actions for you to enjoy in such a short series. There is a large-scale, very bloody battle by the end of the book, but at the same time, you have some like spy-ish mission. So you can expect different kind of action sequences for you to enjoy in this book. And if we're looking at things that this series can improve on, firstly, I think the plot is a bit disjointed in a sense. Like I said, this trilogy is at least shared by 4 POVs, and sometimes we even have chapters from these side characters. Throughout this series, we're talking about the invasion from the Mongolian to Middle East. So we can imagine we got characters from the Mongolians, from the Persian, or even the Pope is present in this series. So when we are switching from each POVs, you can feel like we're actually jumping from different places, and it is really hard. There's no clues, there's like no devices to connect all this like spatial difference together. Sometimes what is going on in one chapter may not have anything to do with the other one. So you feel like that chapter is taken out from what is going on. I guess here what is missing is the smoothness, let's say in any Brandon Sanderson work or in the Echo Saga. There's no like this kind of differences or like this little disruption you could feel about the flow. Like I said in the second book, we were introduced to a very powerful group of magic users and they're quite secretive. I think it is such a great device to expand this kind of conflict to another level. These two factions has been at war for over centuries, and every single one of them got the power to easily destroy the world. This group is not large already. Basically, they're like less than 5 members between each camp. When the story is slowly getting towards the end, we also face the ending of these powerful magic users. But how they all end feels a bit the same to me, and it is quite repetitive. Overall, I will give this one a 4-star. I think it is still a solid read. And if you're into Asian-inspired military fantasy, I would still recommend this series to you, and I mean they're not long. Probably shorter than the Stormlight Archive Book 5, to be honest. Also, the author leaves the ending quite open. Not everything is being solved. So I'm not too sure would there be any more stories or any more like novella that is set in the same universe. But still, I'm really glad that I complete a new fantasy series and I found a new favorite author, Stephen Ian. Now, there are 2 books left on my TBR, and I think I may start Wheel of Time because I'm sort of craving for it. After Knife of Dreams, I have such a high expectation for it because I mean it is getting so good. And also this book was co-written by Brandon Sanderson, so I'm curious to see his kind of like magic touch to the Wheel of Time this series. So next time when you see me, I'll probably finish The Gathering Storm already, so I guess I'll see you guys in a bit. See you soon! Oh, so guys, I think I can finally sit down and talk about my holiday, my birthday holiday. It has actually been quite some time since I got back, but I just don't know why. I'm not sure about you guys. I feel like it is just so difficult to get back to your normal routine after such a long holiday. And I mean, so many dramatic things happen as well. And you know what? 4 days after my birthday trip, I have another shorter holiday. So my schedule is a total mess right now. And I guess if you click into this 5-star quest, this like monthly reading vlog, you will care me as a person, right? So here I'm just want to share what had happened in my birthday trip, a slightly dramatic one. I don't think I've ever talked about where I will go, how long it will be. I just say like by the end of June and early July, I'll be away for a week. So actually I went to Nice in France, a southern coastal city, which is so good. I went there for 5 days for my birthday, and honestly, it has been so long since I left the country. I don't think I've ever stepped out of the UK since I landed here, so this trip really means a lot, you know. Secretly and honestly, I think France is a better tourist attraction in general than the UK. I remember in the UK, if you want to go out to have a dinner, have a meal, and open a good bottle of wine, I need to say water. Open a good bottle of wine. For 2 of you, it can easily be over 100 quid. But then in France, and I remember one night we had this dinner and we're talking about 2-course menu with like an amuse-bouche, the main course and the dessert, and they all look massive as well. We are talking about €30 per head and you don't need to pay any service charge, which is like why I have only discovered it in my late 20s. It's just like, honestly, I question my existence in the UK. Why do I need to pay so much more for hospitality? And I mean, UK food, they're not great, basically. So every day begins with like a nice walk under the sun along the beach, then maybe walk to the old town, whatever it is, walk to a gallery, walk to the port. So many things for you to explore. The weather is so nice. I got a nice tan. Then in the afternoon, you can just walk back to the hotel, resting there, chilling there, maybe buy some nice snacks from the shops. And I mean, those snacks are cheap and nice too. In the evening, have like a little drink first and like go to a restaurant. Every day was perfect. I miss it already. Near future, and I'm talking about very near future. During the summer, I would definitely want to go to there again because it was just so nice. Then, one big news hit. I think I was going to leave the country by noon, and then in the morning, I was like, let's enjoy the last day of holiday. Let's take our time, slowly pack our stuff, and then I slowly get back to the airport, wait in the airport, get on the plane, fly back to the UK. No, nothing like that happened because there is a strike. We were thinking like, oh, let's try to see can we book any flights. But you know what? Because it is like a 2-day strike, people on Thursday already booked their return flight because of this like disruption. And then coming to Friday, we got nothing. I remember EasyJet did rearrange an other flight for us, but that is going to be Monday. That means we're going to stay in there for extra Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And that flight is not like a direct flight to the UK. I forgot which stop it was, but a 2-hour flight turned into like a 7-hour journey, which is not good. Then we look up to any other possible routes to leave the country. Of course, you can't go by ferry because I don't drive. And I think the strike did affect all the airports in France, so you can't leave the country by flight. The only solution left is by Eurostar, but there's no Eurostar starting from Nice. So you know what? We have to travel to Marseille for another 2 nights, which means that we are staying in France for extra 3 days. So this is the drama I'm talking about. Extra days in France. But you know what? We didn't really have any knowledge about Marseille, and it is such a literally last minute decision. I know Marseille is another very popular city, and I think it is like the second largest city in France. But we just don't know anything about the city. So we are like headless chicken walking around the city. I don't know why, I just didn't enjoy myself as much as in Nice. It is almost like a fantasy book that you're gonna rate it for 2 stars. Strong opening, huge twist, terrible ending. It's me. So luckily we still have like a nice walk, nice meal, nice drinks, but just like we can plan ahead so much better. Then on Sunday, you know what, we're traveling on Eurostar, right? But you need to go to another city in the north. The first train was nice because like I said, we were booking for Eurostar and there's not too many space left. Turns out the train we booked was like first class. But the second one, the Eurostar, there was like a delay with it. I think it is 2 hours later than expected. Overall, I would say I had quite a dramatic birthday holiday. First time leaving the country for almost 5 years, and then such a nice time in Nice and a dramatic twist to Marseille with a very unexpected ending. Oh my god, it is just like another crazy story to tell. Never mind, I still got plenty of books to finish. I'm really way behind with my July TBR, so let's get back to reading, guys. Bye! A little new filming spot here. It is like my old bookcase is here, and in the back you can see it is another bookcase because the one I'm having now is getting a bit full and I need some like organization and to put my Gundam in better display. So I decided to take this old bookcase out and put books like I want to read next month in here, books that I have DNF on the second shelf, and in the bottom shelf, it is for a secret project. But I'm not here to give you guys an update just because I have a new bookcase. I'm here because I have finished The Gathering Storm by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson, and it is nearly the end of the month. It took me relatively longer to finish this book because I mean, look how thick it is, and also thanks to my birthday holiday. I didn't expect I would love this one so much, and it became my favorite Wheel of Time books ever. I would say this book is actually quite similar to the last one, Knife of Dreams, in terms of concluding some of our main characters' arcs. By the way, if you haven't, and I mean haven't, really heard about The Wheel of Time before, it is a 14-book long epic fantasy series. All you need to know about this series can be summarized in just one sentence.
The wheel weaves as the wheel wills.
In short, you can just simply say it is a Chosen One story in which we are following the Dragon Reborn, Rand, and his friends in this massive battle between light and evil. They originally coming from mid of nowhere, a lesser known village, and we will witness the growth of all these characters throughout the series. There are also other interesting players, races, power, magic system. Honestly, there are so much interesting plot and details that you can explore in this world, and it is just so good, guys. Then back to The Gathering Storm. It is the 12th book of the series, and we picked up right after the ending of the last book. This time we focus more on characters like Egwene, Rand, and Perrine, and surprisingly, there's no Elaine in this book. All you need to know is I never enjoy a Wheel of Time book as much as this. I can eat it up. In the last wrap-up for Knife of Dreams, I said that I love Egwene's story, and coming to The Gathering Storm, we will continue to see her effort to achieve what she wanna do. I think she is really smart in this book to observe the situation and win the heart of her people. With a sudden event took place around her surrounding, she took a gamble, and it is just so fun, it is just so exciting, it is just so interesting to see the final outcome. I rarely click with her earlier in this series, but this time in The Gathering Storm as well as in Knife of Dreams, I really love her plot, and her growth is also so good to witness. And the only thing here though is after I finish The Gathering Storm, of course I would look up reviews on Goodreads, on Reddit to see what people would say about it. I was a bit shocked to see the people discussing about Egwene because of what she had done earlier in the series. I forgot which book exactly, but it is when Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine in this dream world. And for some reasons, Egwene wanna teach Nynaeve a lesson. And remember, Nynaeve at that time was still like the wisdom in this village, meaning that she thought she has to quote take care of others really responsibly. But Egwene in this dream world used some really extreme method, borderline sexually abusing, to teach Nynaeve that lesson, and Nynaeve was like really beaten. This group of characters didn't just appear in the dream world, but they will be together in the real world. And again, for some reasons, Egwene appears to be quite rude in front of the strangers. Also earlier in the series, when Egwene was still traveling with Rand, she will always complain about Rand not talking to her. She don't get why Rand behaving or like speaking like this, but she never got a chance to really be with Rand. Although I enjoy her arcs in The Knife of Dreams and The Gathering Storm, she cannot be my favorite because of all these reasons. That little like flashbacks reminds me of why I don't like Egwene earlier in the series. She's just like so unlikable. Okay, back to The Gathering Storm. No more Egwene, let's talk about Rand. I also enjoy reading his chapters in this book. If you have read this series before or if you have started reading it because of me, you may notice Rand's chapters earlier in the series are a bit difficult to read. It is so heavy with all the burdens, all the responsibility, all the internal struggle that he has to go through. And as a reader, it is like we are going through all these moments with him, and maybe also because of Robert Jordan's personal experience. I remember I talked about it before, he has some post-war problems with his mental health, so it may be reflected through Rand's perspective. In this book, of course, it begins quite heavy with Rand's responsibility, all those hardships, but behind the stage there are some manipulation going on. In a way, it can teach Rand a lesson, and it is just so good to see finally he come to that realization. Before, it was the same as Egwene. I don't really particularly enjoy Rand's chapter because it is just so difficult to read. But coming to The Gathering Storm, I enjoyed his arc. It really hit. There are also quite a lot of epic moments in this book. Let's say the fights with Rand shape him the person he thought he needs to be. And I mean that long-awaited confrontation. It has been dragging for so many books already. and it is just so good to see the ending of one of the characters. And I guess one thing I do love about the Wheel of Time is the ending of the arcs. Not every time has to be like die, die, die. You have to die to conclude one ending, because there are more horrible things that can happen to you. And I mean, possibly one of the biggest twists we have seen in this series. Oh, your dress is green. That moment is like mind blown. That moment is like so shocked to read. The ending of that chapter and the next chapter was like such a wild ride. I was completely stunned. I was like completely gagged, and it's just like complete mind blown. That chapter was really well written, got me really hooked, and it's just like so emotional to read. I can quote a short passage which is not a spoiler. I don't want the world to remember me as black. Oh, you are not, because your heart is forever white. I can never remember a scene that good, guys. It just shows you how good it is. It almost reminds me of reading the Greenbone saga, especially with Jade Legacy, thinking about all those emotional moments that can send me goosebumps. I can feel it. Oh, all those emotions. It's just so good. Oh. Like I said earlier, this book is actually co-written by Brandon Sanderson, and I mean, you can really see his touch here. In case you haven't heard about this backstory, sadly, Robert Jordan died after finishing Knife of Dreams. I'm not too sure about the details here, but I think at that moment he was preparing for the final book rather than like the middle chunk of it. But later, the publisher and also Robert Jordan's wife agreed to invite Brandon Sanderson to complete this legacy. If I need to very quickly summarize Robert Jordan's writing style, I would say he can really construct a convincing world, but he may not have the best storytelling ability. In this world, we have so many things that you can really explore, different races, different group of powers, but in the middle chunk of the books especially, you can feel like there are just so many loose threads hanging here and there. And because it is like a 14-book long series, some of the books would focus on certain characters and you would never see the other characters. And maybe in between all these main characters, we also have chapters from the side characters. So there are quite a lot of things for the readers to process, but you don't necessarily know when these knots will be tied. But coming to the Gathering Storm, I would say I can use my brain better to connect all these tiny dots across this world much more easily. I mean, we have so many characters in this saga and they are all over the places. I think in a way, Brandon Sanderson's writing style make it more easier, make it more accessible for readers to realize the full picture. There will be hints, there will be clues, there will be links in between all these perspectives, so you don't need to really pay too much effort to realize what the next moment gonna be like. It is not like there will be no surprises because it is so easy to picture the next move, but I would say in a way you can imagine yourself come up with so many fan theories more easily. And also we won't be reminded of all these details so many times like what Robert Jordan would do. Maybe because with the touch of Brandon Sanderson, I enjoy this book much more than earlier installments. All in all, you can really tell how much I enjoy The Gathering Storm and why it has become my favorite Wheel of Time book. Plot, characters, fight, conspiracy, everything just executed so well, and it can easily be a 5-star read. I may even do a reread in the future because I mean it will be so fun to see this world again with some basic knowledge of how things gonna be like. I want to see all those clues that Robert Jordan has dropped earlier. And I also honestly can't wait to check out the next 2 books because there is only one character arc hasn't been concluded in this book, and there is quite an interesting task with Matt that I want to see how it's gonna be like. So finally, by the end of the month, I can start the last book on my TBR, and it is only the 3rd one, and it is gonna be Kingdom of Bones. Next time when you see me, I'll probably finish that book already, so see you guys in a bit. Hopefully, I can finish it before the end of the month. See you guys later. Bye! So guys, this is August already. Hopefully, I can finish it before the end of the month. And I'm finally finishing my last book on my July's TBR, and what a wild month it is. I don't think I have a reading month as bad as in July. Only 3 books. But never mind, I have finished Kingdom of Bones by Philip C. Quintrell. I know that I have repeated myself quite a lot already. I think I have said it for over 7 times now. The Echo Saga is part of my 2025 reading plan, and I aim to finish this series by the end of the year. In case you haven't heard about this before, the Echo Saga is a self-published epic fantasy 9-book saga. Kingdom of Bones is actually the second book of the second trilogy, meaning that this 9-book saga can be further divided into 3 trilogies. And of course, these 3 trilogies are related to each other and you have to complete it in chronological order. Coming to this second trilogy, it took place 30 years after the first one. All the people has been enjoying peace for 30 years now, until our main characters discover a rising dark force that could mark the end of this age. In this second trilogy, of course, we're gonna see some familiar faces from the first trilogy, alongside with more perspectives or chapters from the Dragon, those that can bond with the dragons, as well as the Dwarf's Kingdom to see how they defend their home. So what I think is so successful in this book is how Philip C. Quintrell crafts this kind of hopelessness, this kind of despair, and the vibe is really dark. This rising dark force led by a really cunning character called the Crow, alongside with the continuing invasion from a foreign race called Orcs. Our main characters have been gone through quite a lot already and they are all exhausted. So in this book, we are constantly in this darkness. Even our characters are like thinking a way to get out of it. Can there be a solution that can settle this conflict? I am totally sucked into this vibe. What I find so good is how Philip C. Quintrell wrote the villains in this book. Like I said, there's a leader called the Crow, and there is also a thug turned into advisor in called politics. If you remember from my reviews of the first trilogy, I always compare the villains to the Team Rocket in Pokemon, where they constantly fail to catch the Pikachu. So in a way, it tells you the villain wasn't that great in the first series. But coming to the second trilogy, it is just so much better. They're like really cunning, really smart, really calculated. The Crow has this kind of really grand vision, and since then, every step he has taken is really well calculated. We would never know what he is planning. We sort of know what is going on, but never the full picture. Also, the way he manipulate or torture people in order to achieve his goal is really scary, to be honest. Like I said, we just got a bit of hints of what he want to do, but never the full picture. So I can't wait to check out the next book to see what he is actually planning. And so the third, we learn about his backstory in the last book, which is dangerous already. Seeing what he is doing in the court politics now is also another scary thing. He tried to manipulate events, try to strengthen his position in the court. It's like, ooh, you are good but scary at the same time. In the last book, I enjoyed the tension between the half-fate siblings, but coming to this one, you can tell already I am more inclined to the villains, even though they are quite frightening. Don't get me wrong, the hero in this book is still compelling. One of them do shine quite a lot. He has grown a lot and his growth mirror with what he has gone through in the past. Overall, the character work has improved quite a lot since the last book of this series, and I also want to highlight the villains here. Like I said, the vibe in this book is quite dark. Our characters has been pushed to the corner and test their limits and try to defend their home while they're still exhausted. The food supply was running low and the morale of the army was crumbling, so everyone got this sense of the end is coming. There are also quite a lot of physical and mental torture that our characters has to go through. It is honestly kind of painful to read because we know that those characters can't escape this torture easily, and we are like sharing this pain with them. So in a way, you can say that this book reads quite depressed because even our characters can't find the light. But what I do appreciate is by the end of the book, the author reminds us that there is light in the end of the tunnel through the perspective of the Dragon. Same as before, you can expect quite a lot of action sequences in this book, not just like the good old sword fight or like an epic battle, But we also got adventures like exploring a new place or maybe even a great escape, which is just so fun to read. I don't think I need to explain so much on the last battle. It was so epic to see all our characters coming from different sides, coming from different powers to work together to defend their homes. From planning to the actual fight, it is just so good to read. The plot, the character, the pacing, the action, the atmosphere, everything just hit so well in this book. In my humble opinion, all the books from the second trilogy has been hitting so hard. And I honestly can't wait to see how this second trilogy gonna end. So with this reason, no reason not to give this one a 5-star. July was full of surprises, intense finale, and some huge moments in this 5-star quest. Honestly, this month just reminds me of why I love doing this series. And if you think July was great, wait till August because I got something big planned for August. We got some new releases. We also got like the final book of the second trilogy of the Echo Saga, as well as a sci-fi opera that I want to check out for some time now. So in this video, I successfully found 2-star read even though I can only finish 3 books. So I think this rating makes up for the number, right? Thank you for watching, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to my channel Dynasty so you won't miss anything from me. I will see you all real soon. Goodbye.